book. You know, you know. So I heard this song and it just made me think about him. I'm not gonna play the whole song. We just gonna play just the. Let me get this person again. We just gonna play and just until you'll get the point. So let me see if it's working.
Yeah, you should have said, give me scripture, I don't wanna go. I need chapter and verse now.
Y'all heard he said?
Cause I'm getting emotional. Check out your making no. Read the same book and we do not agree. Is it cause you feeling feelings and I speak what I breathe? Tell me why no Bible open when your pastors teach. He ain't really come to preach with motivational speak. Tell me what the Bible say, not what your pastor say. Cause the Bible won't steer me wrong, but your pastor may. When the Bible ain't open, you got a lot to say. But when we put them scriptures out, you wanna run away. The Bible say your heart is wicked, so I do not admire your opinion because I don't wanna see no hellfire. They always feel the scripts you have to inquire. Cause your feelings will make you act according to your desires. So let God be true and every man a liar. That's Romans 3 and 4, it will not expire. Seek out the book and read even if you tired. Because Satan always lurking for evil to conspire.
I need that. You guys see me there.
Give me scripture, I don't wanna go. I need chapter and verse now.
I say, yo, that's not my job.
I need that. You guys see me there.
He said, I need chapter and verse now. Oh man, I said, I don't know when I'm gonna get the opportunity. I said, I'm not gonna tell nobody until. But today it worked out. Everybody was here, or majority of the people. So I said, this will be a good opener, icebreaker, and things of that nature. It's called "Give Me Scripture" is the name of the song. Give me Scripture by Yashanasa. There it is. But I said, man, that reminds me of times about Abijah. Also,
and is the screen sharing online? And is it just this? All right, cool. So we were talking about darkness to light, and I want to revisit that, fill in the gaps, and this whole scenario is going from about the darkness, about the light, about what is darkness, what is the light, who is the light, and then a light to the Gentiles. What does that mean? And then the last part, which it won't be today, but the next part, just so y'all know, be aware, is that you are the light. So, or you are supposed to be. But so we're gonna jump back into it, and I started it off last time with this quote from this scene from the movie The Dark Knight Rises, and it's the first exchange between Batman and the villain in the movie, Bane. And I'm one of those people that's weird about playing stuff multiple times, but I'm gonna just play it so we can see it, and then I have a little bit of added comments from the previous time.
Let's not stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne. Things have cost you your start. Victory has defeated you. Fight like a younger man. Nothing held back. Admirable, but mistaken. Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but broken.
So we showed that clip last time, and there's so many things that I didn't even talk about last time that I could talk about, like in the beginning when he said, peace has cost you your strength. And then he says, victory has defeated you. Now, how I correlate that to the Israelites is that we seen time and time again, every single time the Most High delivered the people, now we got peace, we start acting up. And so I just equated that in my mind to how, of course, he was talking about in the sense of fighting, but just correlating that to how we have been. Every time we've been delivered and saved, now we're supposed to have shalom, peace. We start getting in trouble, start acting up. The society, starts to go down. But the key for the class, Batman tries to kill the lights because he works well in the dark. And Bane was letting him know that he said, you think that darkness is your ally, but I was born in the dark and I was molded by the dark. And it just made me think about us as a people, like I mentioned last time before. And I asked the question, do you guys think that we were born in the darkness or we were born in the light? I think it was most people said they felt like darkness, so it might have been a mixed review. If you didn't get a chance to answer and you had thought about it, you could, raise your hand now. But since it's a review, we all pretty much came to the agreement about how it was darkness. And after the class, which I love so much, Sister Amanaya had mentioned a scripture, and I was like, yeah, I'm so thankful for you to put that in there because I didn't have time to even, think about it. And it's Psalms 51 proves how what I was saying that I felt that we were born in darkness because we were separated from the Most High, separated from Zion, born in sin. And if someone could read Psalms 51 and verse 5.
Psalm 51, verse 5, ESV says, behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me.
Behold, I was shapen or born in iniquity, that's the KJV, and in sin did my mother conceive me. So that's a precept that supports the thought that on how we were born under the shade of darkness. Did anybody have a comment about that?
Now, the scriptures are our proof text. So the poll, I forgot how the poll turned out, but this precept pretty much confirms we were all born in darkness.
Con. All praises for that. And then we went through, because I'm skimmed through most of these, and until we get to the newer stuff. We talked about, how they've changed things from that's supposed to be represented as good to evil and evil for good. We talked about things of that nature. We went on good old Google and had the definition of darkness, which was saying that it was the absence of light. Also, if this is your first time seeing this, the first class is on the channel, the Torah Group, so you can go there and see the beginning of this teaching. A lot of it is going to be covered, but some of the parts will be sped through as we're combing through to the newer stuff. So we talked about Genesis 1 and 2, how when the Most High saw the world and it was without form and void, and we mentioned that it represented no order, no Torah or law, and we gave a witness from Job 10 and 22, covered some of the biblical definitions of the word shashak, which meant darkness, shashak, which is the cha, the shah, and the hand. Went over some of the possibilities that those could represent and came to the conclusion that it represented being separated for destruction by the hand of the Most High. And one of the proof texts we used was Exodus, how the Most High has separated the Israelites, and he separated them from the Egyptians, and he had them covered in a gross darkness. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, this part we're going a little fast because it's just the review, and it is on the channel. Then something that I had saw and had a great conversation with Brother Anthony, and I think I mentioned that last time. And I want to tag team with him, not today though, so you ain't on the spot. But we talked about some Hebrew words, and we went through the process, like how I'll go through the process of each character and each word, and we was just doing it live time, just on the phone. And he was like, "Well, this is what I got, but what about this?" And then I said, "Well, look at this scripture." And then each time we started reading different things, we was just like, oh my goodness, and that feeling just comes over you. I said, man, Tazabah Abijah, he would have been proud of this conversation to see, the brothers on the phone talking about that. But we went through that, and we was talking about the visual of what the characters and the function of what the characters can do to like reveal what's trying to be said. And one of the things that I saw when I saw these characters specifically was that the Cha could represent a gate. And if we're talking about darkness, then we're talking about possibly being on the other side, on the outside of that gate. And then the two front teeth, then I'm like gnashing teeth. And when I showed that, Miss Jennifer instantly said, well, I got a precept, I got this and I got that. And, I said it's all praises that this is not, something that's super complicated. And then I came up with when I looked at the hand, I'm like, well, what could the hand represent? But when you're weeping, you put your hands on your face and cry in your hands. And so I said, the precepts where the Messiah talked about going into the weeping and gnashing of teeth and outer darkness, Shashak. So I, had a little funny picture up there, the man sitting on the outside of the gate in darkness.
Also, I just I ain't used to sitting down. I just was going to say, as you're speaking, I love this culture, because the first character, the tent wall. What happens, like, just through North Carolina, Helene came through, and what the people show on the news? Only one wall of their house was left. So if you just see a tent wall, a Shemitic person is like, is my house destroyed? That's another context. So I love this culture.
Okay. Anybody else had anything? And then, so after the class, I had got a text from Brother Yashar. I was hoping he was going to be here today.
He's on.
Okay. So shout out to you, and so I have the text, because it's nothing, bad or revealing or anything. It's very edifying here, and then I thought about it. But for one, it definitely edified me, because I feel like it shows that, he was understanding what I was saying. And so that's always edifying, and then it's all praise to the Most High, that he has people to even care enough to want to continue the conversation. So when we were talking about Chashab, he said, get over here. So we was talking about Chashab. He sent me this message, and he had this shirt on, and he said, I wore this shirt today, reminded me of what you were saying about the hands, how when you're weeping, you could put your hands in your face in your hands. And he said, this is when the Assyrians took us into captivity. the name of the image that he had from Google, it says the Judeans begging for mercy. And he says, I said, going into the weeping and gnashing of teeth, outer darkness, captivity. And then he had said, he comes back and says, outside the city on the hill, the light of the world. So if you're outside the city of a hill, you're automatically in darkness. And this is an example of like me and Anthony's conversations where we're just posting mind blown emojis and exclamation marks and things like that, because our communication is on the same page. And I can remember when I was newer into the covenant and listening to more seasoned people, if somebody would have showed this picture and said, weeping and gnashing of teeth, outer darkness, captivity, I would have had no clue like what they were talking about. But it felt nice to be able to see the brother pick up what I was putting down, what the Most High was showing us, and adding such value to the conversation. Because if you're outside of Yasharallah, you're getting taken into captivity. You're going into outer darkness, the weeping and gnashing of teeth. So all praises for that. The image is called the Lakesh relief. Lakesh or Lakish or Lakash is a city. It's a city below Jerusalem, if you could see the map on the screen, or you could just type it in for the people online who'll see this at a later time. And this image is when some of the forefathers were going into captivity and holding up their hands. Some are on their knees, being taken outside of the city walls, which again would represent to us them going into outer darkness. Did anybody have a comment or a question before we move on?
I just want to point out that looks like they got like kinky hair on the leaves there. Like,
Yeah,
like fish people.
Definitely looks different than those people that are over in that thing.
You can do it on the laptop too. It's easier.
Oh yeah, I see.
So the participants, it's easier that way.
Wow.
Naraya.
Somebody doing? Somebody that.
I thought you had a comment.
No,
Oh, okay. All right, so moving on from there. So before the city or the people were established, or as they were being established, the light was given to us. The light was given to us. And let me see here. Let's see if I got the right scripture. There's a lot of scriptures really that show this, but one of them is in Exodus chapter 13 and 21. Also too, while y'all are turning, please excuse, because the Most High, I was telling Art before everybody came, I said sometimes it's very grievous, and I didn't want to use that word. He said, no, that's the right word. So because you see something, and I have like a very creative thought process in mind, so I start seeing all these things, and things start getting downloaded, and then I'm trying to be a perfectionist and have everything to make sure, because what I see, to make it for the people to be able to digest and understand it. So it could be some mistakes or something maybe out of order or all over the place, because I'm still adding to it as I'm going, and then the Most High is showing me new stuff all the time. I even mentioned to Naraya, I said, yo, this thing is getting way out of hand. in comparison to what I originally thought. That's kind of like our language. But I said, yeah, this is really getting way out of hand. It's a good thing, but you know, like I said, sometimes just being able to take it and then put it into something that people can receive sometimes is a little bit tough. But all praises for the wisdom from the Most High. So if someone could read Exodus 13 and verse 21.
Exodus chapter 13, verse 21. And Yah went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night.
And 22.
He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from before the people.
So the Most High went before the people by a pillar of a cloud in the day, and in the night by a pillar of fire to give us light. Little did we know that was symbolism for what he was doing, and it's all gonna connect. Now, I didn't put it in here because, like I said, the Most High will show different things, and sometimes you forget. And I meant to show y'all all my sticky notes and show y'all how crazy it can get sometimes. But there's a precept that shows that who this pillar of fire was, or this cloud was that was with us in the wilderness. So first of all, who was it? Khan. And then I think it's was it Corinthians?
1 Corinthians 10.
1 Corinthians 10, where he says that, and that all under that cloud. Khan. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Someone wouldn't mind reading that for us. 1 Corinthians 10, and just start at verse 1 and stop at 4. Shemai.
Moreover, brethren, or Achion, I do not want you to be unaware that all our fathers were under the cloud, all passed through the sea, all were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea, all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Mashiach.
And that rock was Hamashiach. And there's also a precept in the Apocrypha as well, but we'll cover that the next time because it's others that is going to continue to harp on this point here. So here I have the important part on the screen, and it's in 2nd Baruch or 2nd Barak. This is chapter 17. 2nd Barak, chapter 17. Shema.
Or wherein did Masha suffer loss, in that he lived only 120 years, and inasmuch as he was subject to him who formed him, brought the Torah to the seed of Jacob, and lighted the lamp for the nation of Yasharal.
So it says here that with us being in the wilderness, being with Mashah or Moses, it says he brought the Torah to the seed of Jacob, and he lighted a lamp for the nation of Yasharallah. So the Most High is given the light within the nation and to the nation. Right?
This is just a quick sidebar. I'm hearing you say the word Torah or Torah. It makes me think of the word torch.
Khan, passing the torch from himself to Moses or Mashah. Moses is planting that torch within the nation. So I didn't put this in here originally. I was adding stuff this morning because I was kind of going back and forth, deciding, which ones to do and what not to do. But I said, okay, we are enough seasoned people to where I can just put the word, the letters, and not go through the whole thing, and we can go through it together. So I have a little bit on this to kind of accentuate that point. So it says that Mashah brought the Torah and he lighted a lamp for the nation. He lighted a lamp. So what do you guys think that lamp was? And if the Most High is saying this, then what would that lamp be? What would be the Hebrew equivalent of a lamp? Somebody said it? Khan, y'all know. The menorah. So he lighted the menorah within the nation. So lamp, the word for lamp is narah. So we have our beloved Ak Narah Yah in the building today. I even asked him ahead of time to think about what he felt that his name meant, or what the word Narah meant in terms of a lamp. And he texted me something. I didn't even know if I was going to use what I was going to use or not, but I put it in here this morning, and it's like, yeah. So do you want to explain kind of what you saw first?
I can.
Or anybody else first? You? Let her go first.
I was actually studying this a couple weeks ago, like what a lamp signifies. And I know Proverbs 6:23 says, "For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction in the way of life."
Khan, absolutely. Khan. And we actually had that precept in here from the last time too, but it's prevalent to bring it out at this time as well. So can you read it one more time?
It's Proverbs 6:23. It says, "For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life."
So Khan, again, it says Moses brought the Torah and lighted a lamp. She just read Proverbs that said the lamp is a commandment, or a commandment. How you say it?
The lamp is a commandment.
The lamp is a commandment. So the Most High is, well, I'm about to give what I want to say away. Anybody else? All right, Mariah.
Without going through everything, I don't know if you took a picture of my notes. I mean,
Yeah, I got the picture. I ain't put it in there.
all right, okay. Well, I just took a couple notes, and without going into all of them, just looking at the characters, the Nah is like a seed, but when it comes to a lamp, it also looks like a wick. So, when you're thinking about a lamp, just like I said with the torch, most older movies, they hold the lamp like this if they're in like a dark cave, and it's as a guide as they walk. So looking at Narah, the seed or the wick of the chief. Now, when I say the wick of the chief, a wick is a vessel that can maintain the fire. So y'all remember them saying the parable about the virgins having oil in their lamps, the wick having enough oil so the fire will burn continually. So, just a couple of precepts as far as the seed of the chief, and this is the one that was the most prominent, because what Shamaria was saying, you got somebody trying to get out. Shamaria was saying, and I agree, we were born in darkness, but we are children of light, if that makes sense. That's why we're so peculiar in the world, because the light is blinding to those who are accustomed to the darkness. But just like I was saying at the church a few days ago, if you keep your eyes open long enough, your eyes will begin to adjust to the darkness. So the one precept I'll use that I wrote and sent to Shamar is 1 John chapter 3 verse 9. And then I'll yield. I'll let you take it back.
All good. Because this, I didn't put that. We're going to get to what he's talking about a little bit later, but this whole thing is an overlapping situation. So it's good he can bring this out.
And y'all just Shamar whenever y'all got it. I think somebody's trying to get it again. 1 John chapter 3 verse 9, it says, whoever is born of Yah doth not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, Narah, the seed of the chief. And he cannot sin because he is born of Yah, light. So I think there's another precept that says that Yah is light and there is no darkness at all in him. So it's just multiple witnesses showing that the Most High, Yahweh, is not only the light, but the creator of light. So that's why he gave Yahweh Shai, his law, the light made flesh. He is a living example of the light. And it all correlates. You know, if you've seen the Father, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. You know, it's been saying the same thing over and over and over again. But I say all those things to say, Narah, the seed of the chief, if we're walking like we're supposed to, whenever we look at one another, we should see the Father because we are his children, because his seed has remained in us. So that's Narah.
So can you read out I just want to read 9 with 10 as well. Right.
Verse 9, 1 John chapter 3, verse 9 again. Whosoever is born of Yah doth not commit sin, for his seed, Yah's seed, remaineth in him, and he cannot sin because he is born of Yah. Verse 10. In this the children of Yah are manifest, and the children of the devil. Whosoever doth not righteousness is not of Yah, neither he that loveth not his brother.
All praises for that. And like I said, some of the stuff he was saying is going to overlap to what we're getting to later. Did anybody else want to say what they think Nah and Ra for lamp, light, Torah would be for them?
I had some, I don't know, I'm close enough. When Navarre just read that precept about 1 John 3:9, his seed remains in him. So it's the Nah is the seed. The seed established something. So Abba is being established because Ra is for Abba. Abba is our head. So when we keep the law, when we teach the law, like he gave the light to his son and his son gave it to us, he's been established. So the head is being established, or the establishment of Ra, and Ra is the Most High.
Khan, that's exactly what I was going to say. So all praises to the Most High for that. The point that I wanted to bring out was about the establishment, because it says that he brought the Torah to the seed of Jacob. And if this is the first time we're receiving this light and this lamp, that means that something is being established in us, right? And see, this is how it's happening live time right now. But that's what our faith is.
Come on now.
So I could have did another Sharash Ibar for Amanah. That's faith in Hebrew. Amanah is representing the first thing established, which was the Torah. That makes sense? I don't want to lose nobody. So Mashah is bringing the Torah to Jacob and lit the lamp, which is the commandment. Sister Olivia told us that. It's the first time we're getting this as this nation that's coming out of Egypt, not from Abraham, the forefathers, but out of Egypt. So the Most High is establishing the nation. The Most High, like Tazabah just brought out, the chief is establishing something. And also, like he said, that seed could be a candle. It could be a wick, which holds the flame, which is the light. Lifetime. I don't got to know. This is the Most High. This is not me. I'm telling you. When it happens to you, just come back and just tell me. Be like, it's just overwhelming. I don't know how to explain it to y'all other than that. So the part about remaining and being established, when you see here some of the breakdowns that they give us, I think you got Brown. It's kind of small on the screen. Apologies. This was literally just sitting in the class 30 minutes before everybody got here. But I'll read some of the key points out loud. And it says that it's a lamp, and it could be figurative. It says that 1 Kings talking about David, that his family may remain on the throne. So that remaining, being established. When you go to the Genesius Hebrew lexicon, the one that I wanted to point out, it says that David, my servant, might always have a lamp, that his race might continue forever. So his seed is being established by the chief, and that it may continue, because what does that say on the na right there? Continue forever. So hopefully that made sense. Anybody have any questions or comments about that? Ra, the lamp of Yasha Allah. Oh yeah, I'm glad you raised your hand. And that seed was to, that lamp is to remain. So after his comment, I want to read one more thing.
Well, I just sent the note to the text group, and I'll send it to the Telegram right now. But if y'all look at the notes that I took, that I sent to Shamar, if you look at B and C whenever you get a chance, it says B is the established mind, and C is the root of the chief. So how is a lamp in David's race going to continue? It continues through their mind, so they never forget, at least to a certain degree, the Most High in some way, form, or fashion. That's how, some of us over here may be from that same descendancy of King David, but you had our people, even they didn't know how to read. How is it they didn't know how to read? They weren't literate by any means, but they still had those hymns, those songs. They'll pray those prayers that they heard from all those days back. So that when I hear those things, it makes me think of what the Most High did for King David. But the root of the chief in John 15:8, Yahushua himself said, "I am the fruit of the stem of Jesse," of King David. Paraphrasing, but I got the precepts written down in the note. But yeah, I'll yield with that.
Khan, and he said, the chief's mind, how does it stay in the earth, is through the seed, through the people. And that's why I said in the end, we're getting towards that you are to be the light. And he said the same thing, but that's going to be next time. Tazabah Baja.
Man, I'm on fire. Oh my goodness. Everything is practical when you learn the culture. As Ops class is talking about the light, the commandments for the Aaron's sons was always keep the light burning inside the temple. That's what the Feast of Dedication is about. So now he's saying the light is the Most High is being established, his ways being established. Everything is practical when you learn this culture. So that light in the temple is supposed to remind them of the law.
Right.
Keep teaching the children of Israel the law, the light, my establishment. This thing.
And it's supposed to remain forever.
Forever.
So Nariah, we're going to 2 Maccabees, and we're going to start chapter 1.
We'll start at 10.
And
Tells you what year it is.
I'll let you.
Start at 1.
You got it. What I trust you.
I'm gonna start at 1, y'all, just to bring all everything together. So Second Maccabees 1, verses 1 through 22. It's a little bit of reading, but you'll see as soon as we start. While we starting at verse 1. Shema. Second Maccabees chapter 1.
That's in the Apocrypha. We have a extra one up here.
I got one.
Okay. I apologize. This was some of this is on the fly, but I felt like it was important, so I don't have it on the screen either.
All right, Shema. All right. Second Maccabees or Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. The brethren, the Jews that be at Yerushalayim and in the land of Judea, wish unto the brethren, the Jews that are throughout Egypt, or Matazariam, health and peace. Shalom. Yahweh be gracious unto you, and remember his covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, his faithful servants, and give you all an heart to serve him and to do his will with a good courage and a willing mind, and open your hearts in his law and commandments, and send you peace, and hear your prayers, and be at one with you, and never forsake you in time of trouble. And now we be here praying for you.
Stop right there. So just in case, y'all see how he talked about the mind of the Most High with the commandments and having that continue out through us. That's why he was pointing out that open your hearts in his Torah. And then what was the part of that? Yeah, and have a willing mind. What's the will of the Father?
Keep his commandments.
Have a willing mind. That's what his point that he sent that little text message to y'all. And that's why I think you probably was blowing your own mind right there when you was reading it. So yeah, I got it. I knew that you was hitting that. Just wanted to make sure that they saw like these words roll. Because if these words was in Hebrew, y'all would get it even easier if we had the full understanding. But go ahead.
Verse 7. What time is Demetrius' reign? In the 169th year, we the Jews wrote unto you in the extremity of trouble that came upon us in those years, from the time that Jason and his company revolted from the Holy Land and kingdom, and burned the porch, and shed innocent blood. Then we prayed unto Yah, and were heard. We offered also sacrifices and fine flour, and lighted the lamps, and set forth the loaves. And now see that you keep the feast of Sukkah, or tabernacles, in the month Caslu, in the 184th year, so 188th year. The people that were at Jerusalem and in Judea and the council of Judas sent greeting and help unto Aristobulus, King Ptolemaeus, his master, who was of the stock of the anointed priests, and to the Jews that were in Egypt. Insomuch as Elohim hath delivered us from great perils, we thank him highly, as having been in battle against a king. For he cast them out and fought within the holy city. For when the leader was come into Persia, and the army with him that seemed invincible, they were slain in the temple of Nenea by the deceit of Nenea's priests. For Antiochus, as though he would marry her, came into the place, and his friends that were with him to receive money in name of a dowry, which when the priest of Nenea had sent forth, and he was entered with a small company into the compass of the temple, they shut the temple as soon as Antiochus was come in, and opening a privy door of the roof, they threw stones like thunderbolts, and struck down the captive, hewed them in pieces, and smote off their heads, and cast them to those that were without, outer darkness. Blessed be our Elohim in all things, who hath delivered up the ungodly. Therefore, whereas we are now purposed to keep the purification of the temple upon the 25th day of the month Caslu, we thought it necessary to certify you thereof, that you also might keep it, as the Feast of Tabernacles.
No, Hanukkah, dedication.
Tabernacles.
Am I right? Is that right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. That's actually
That- so-
dedication.
Yeah. So
It's supposed to be what?
That's actually dedication.
I think the editors messed up.
Yeah, they messed it up in this translation.
Okay, yeah, I say mine
Yeah.
say
It's supposed to be
Chanat, right?
Yeah.
dedication.
Dedication.
Yeah. And this is what happens is.
Now these got all this education, but you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. How I say the light of the lamp is for
This is the
dedication.
25th day of the 9th month.
Yeah, because Zakah is in the 7th.
Yeah, it says tabernacles.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to help you out. I'm gonna say you got me up here. I'm tripping.
Just another proof these theologians don't know what y'all
Yeah, so it's dedication.
Dedication,
Yeah.
and so I'm gonna reread it, y'all. That you also might keep it as the feast of dedication and of the fire, which was given us when Nehemiah offered sacrifice. After that, he had builded the temple and the altar. For when our fathers were led into Persia, the priests that were then devout took the fire of the altar privily and hid it in a hollow place of a pit without water, where they kept it sure, so that the place was unknown to all men. Verse 20. Now after many years, when it pleased Elohim, Nehemiah, being sent from the king of Persia, did send of the posterity of those priests that had hid it into the fire. But when they told us, they found no fire, but thick water. Then commanded he them to draw it up and to bring it. And when the sacrifices were laid on, Nehemiah commanded the priests to sprinkle the wood and the things laid thereupon with the water. When this was done, and the time came that the sun shone, which afore was hid in the cloud, which afore was hid in the cloud, there was a great fire kindled, so that every man marveled.
Y'all see that? The fire being established was to remain with us. They hid this flame, dug a pit with no water. It ended up getting flooded, pulled it out after many years, and the sun shone that was in the pillar of a cloud. Metaphorically, when I read that, that's like Yahushai shining on that, and the fire is back. That makes sense? Nariah, the lamp, the commandment. Whew. Any comments about that?
No comment about what you said.
Help them out.
Not necessarily comment about what you said. However, I will say that, that whole thing about the tabernacles and dedication, that whole thing is a discrepancy, because it's talking about Nehemiah, right? Now, when we read Nehemiah, it was actually the Feast of Tabernacles that they were keeping. So, but it speaks of dedication. So this whole thing is a discrepancy with the publishers or the writers or whoever. But in Nehemiah's time, it was actually tabernacles.
And then in the Maccabees' time, they're doing the
rededicate.
So
Right.
we'll have
so
to.
they've messed up. The
These
writers messed up.
theologians don't know what they're talking about.
When we'll comb through, if anybody is confused, put that to the table, that to the side, and in a future class we'll clear it up.
It's easy to clear up.
Yeah.
It's easy to clear up. Nehemiah was going tabernacle.
Trying to bring more confusion.
That's all. I mean, it proves this is not your text. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Because if it was their text, they would have been honorable. They wouldn't want to desecrate the history.
Right. You would.
I ain't gonna force it, but it was something I wanted to share. But we'll go to 2nd Baruch chapter 10. 2nd Baruch chapter 10. And verse 12. Shema. It says, and do, O sun, withhold the light of your rays, and do, O moon, extinguish the multitude of your light. For why should light rise again where the light of Zion is darkened? So with second Baruch, then this time, they've already been back in the land, and this is the Babylonian captivity approaching, and in some cases, already started. And I remember now turning to this, and that's something that I wanted to talk about, that leading up to this, these things. Yeah, I think I might find it. So if I go back a little bit, so y'all know we pretty much got in a battle between us and the Babylonians, right? And they came and they overthrew the city, destroyed the temple, desecrated the holy things, burned them with fire, and took the people into captivity, right? I don't even know how to ask the question without giving it away. But I'm going to just not be mysterious. The Most High destroyed the temple.
Right.
How many people knew that? Do y'all know how he destroyed the temple?
He sent the angels in.
He knows.
Yeah, he allowed. They went to the army and said, y'all, pretty much y'all can go do what y'all need to do.
So let's see if I can read just a little pieces and pieces that I had highlighted. So this is, like I said, y'all, this is off the fly, but it's just something that it blew my mind away. So it's different chapters, but the chapters are really short. But I'm just gonna read the different pieces here. Chapter 6, 2nd Baruch chapter 6. 2nd Baruch chapter 6. He says, verse 2, and I was grieving over Tazawan, Zion, and lamenting over the captivity which had come upon the people. And lo, suddenly a strong ruach or spirit raised me and bore me aloft over the wall of Yerushalayim. And I beheld, and lo, 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the city, each of them holding a torch of fire in its hands. And another angel began to descend from the Shemayim, and he says, hold your lamps and do not light them till I tell you, for I am first sent to speak a word to the earth, to be a witness, and to place it in what Yahweh Tazabah has commanded me. And I saw him descend into the Holy of Holies and take from thence the veil and the holy ark and the mercy seat and the 2 tables and the holy raiment of priests and the altar of incense and the 48 precious stones wherewith the priest was adorned and the holy vessels of the tabernacle. And he spake to the Arataza, or the earth, with a loud voice, earth, 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 hear the word of the Most High, and receive what I commit to you, and guard them until the last times, so that when you are ordered, you may restore them, so the strangers may not get possession of them. For the time comes when Yerushalayim also will be delivered, all praises, until it is said that it is again restored forever. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up. Chapter 7. It's only 2 verses. And after these things, I heard that angel saying unto those angels that held the lamps in the four corners of the city, destroy, therefore, and overthrow its walls to its foundations. Chashak, the tent wall, overthrow the walls to its foundations, lest the enemy should boast and say, we have overthrown the wall of Tazawan, and we have burnt the place of the Most High, and ye have seized the place where I had been standing before. So the Most High is destroying us. The Most High is tearing down the temple, and then he just let the enemy just walk in and clean up the scraps. Y'all see that? And it continues if you read, but I didn't want to like sidebar too far away.
So, do you mind if I comment back to the word Shashak now? I didn't know if you were going to go over the word awar again.
It comes up. Go ahead.
Okay. But the word Shashak, if you think about the word Shashak, at least how I did, the wall being destroyed by the hand. The wall being destroyed by the hand. So it's just like when the Most High was comparing us to a vineyard. He said, what more could I have done to my vineyard? But I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take away the hedge thereof.
Come on now.
I'm going to take away that protective covering. I'm going to pretty much let the enemies that y'all love so much with their gods come and ransack the place. But it's after I done knocked y'all upside the head. But a war, is it the ox, the tent peg, and then the chief head? So when you think of a word a war, it's like a dog on a leash. The ox head is like cattle or your animal, your dog. The tent peg is like a leash or a restraint.
Right.
And the chief is the one who is restraining the dog, the light, the order. So it's like all of a sudden the Most High just put the leash on and said, calm your behind down.
Right.
So, but that's what I was holding on to in regards to Shashak and the war.
And that makes sense with a war because it's like, I don't even know how to even say it, but it just shows that his hand is in control over what's happening to us as long as we're walking in right standing, then that light and that protector is with us.
No, it's just, all praise to the Most High. He showed me this a while ago. A lot of people will say, oh, like me, I won't give that credence to the enemy or the opposition, if you will, the enemies, because I know it's the Most High that's doing all of this. I mean, we gave our position away. That was first and foremost. We gave our position away, and it's just like what Mashiach told Pilate. Like, basically, you didn't do nothing to me, bro. You know what I mean? You didn't do anything to me. You didn't catch me. He said, I was given into your hand. So it's the same with us. Just like the text says, the race is not given to the swift or the battle to the strong. We were given into the hand of the enemy. The Most High gave us over into the hand because of our disobedience. It was the Most High doing all of this, just like he allowed the Malach to destroy the temple. He's allowing the Malach to basically to destroy us. You know what I mean? To chasten us, to get us right. And he just uses the enemies and the strangers as his belt towards us, pretty much.
Khan, all praises for that.
I wanted to add too. It's a beautiful thing because how you are teaching the word chashak or kashak, the hand. And we're talking about the hand of the Most High. But how many times we say in the Christian community, the Most High hand be upon you.
Mm-hmm.
Pray the Most High don't take his hand off you. So this is just a parallel that it's the Most High's hand that we're here in Babylon right now. It's like he said, we don't give these enemies no credit. It's the Most High. We keep blaming them, but again, it's the Most High doing this. So Shashak is just right on time. It's the Father's hand destroying us for being wicked.
And now, even though we're talking about the darkness, we getting there to get into the light. But just on the way, when I saw this again, and I've read it so many times, but if y'all just keep reading over and over, different things will stand out. It's like, it's alive. It's so much information. Different things will stick out at different times. But if the Most High can do that to us with the angels, where the enemies didn't even have to really fight, like they thinking they doing something, but really we already spiritually got beat up. Well, what is he gonna do for us when it's time for restoration to them? So just think about that with the powers and the Malachim and things like that, how he will have them move on our behalf instead of against us. Any comments as we continue?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, Al.
And to that point, the enemy army heard the angels tell them, "You may enter." So these nations know their power has forsaken them. So that's wow. The people knew that those dark Jews, their power had forsaken them. And then the Most High said it in, I think, Deuteronomy 31. The nation's going to say their rock has forsaken them. So they know they can beat us now, they can torture us now because their power, their light has forsaken them.
And didn't you just read that in Judith? You just read that in Judith. That was what that general was telling them. When they're not keeping the commandments,
Come on now.
basically then we can take advantage of them.
Come on now. The nations know who we are.
Come on. And all of that's kind of on point because remember, 2 Barak 10, it says the light of Zion is darkened, or why should the light even rise again from the sun and moon when the light of Zion is darkened, right? If the light of Zion is darkened, that meant we weren't doing what we were supposed to do. So we're going to continue 2 Barak chapter 19, and I'll read verse 1 through 3. Shema. And the main point is on the screen. Verse 1, and he answered and said unto me, wherefore at that time he appointed for them a covenant and said, behold, I have placed before you life and death. And he called the heaven the Shemayim and the earth the Arataza to witness against them. For he knew that his time was short, but that the heaven and earth endure always. So they talking about Mashah, Moses. And it says, but after his death, they sinned and transgressed, though they knew they had the Torah reproving them, and the light which nothing could err, also the spirits which testify in me. When it's talking about the spirits, is that talking about like the stars and stuff like that? I didn't know what that meant.
Where's it at?
2 Barak 19 and 3, it says, we had the Torah and we still messed up. We had the light which nothing could err in the light. We still messed up. And then the spheres which testify, and then me is Moses.
The spheres, we don't know. I think the stars. That's the only thing.
That's all I could think of. But I didn't know. I didn't think it was super important. But I was going to ask, what did they mean by that? So we see that the light has been darkened. You see that we've gone in error having the light with us. So at this point in time, the light has gone out in Zion. So we go from darkness to light. And the last time we talked about that, we talked about Job, and we talked about how it was through the Most High's light that he was able to get through the darkness. Something that came up on the way to restoring this or finishing up this part of the class was Peter or Kapah. And it's that famous quoting from Deuteronomy and things of that nature. But he says, 1 Kapah 2 and 9, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for the Most High's own possession, to proclaim the virtues of him who called you out of the darkness into the light. And y'all see how all of this is correlating. The Most High chose us to be in the light. That's why when he brought us out of darkness from Egypt, he established the light in us. So then we talked about this last time, what the light was. Sister Olivia already kind of explained it, but we just keeping it simple. The light is the Torah. It's the Most High's instruction. It's the Most High's ways, the Proverbs 6 and 23 that she mentioned. And if you want to go one by one, you can see these in the first class. We talked about the word awar, which Nariah had just covered for us again, and how also awar being the first creature or being or the first thing connected or created, or the first creature or being or connected or joined to or from the Most High. And I just made it wordy, but it just covers a multitude of things. And we talked about Colossians 1. Colossians 1 is explaining that the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, is the first of all creation. Brother Ant, if you don't mind, let's just get that part, and then we'll continue into Colossians 1. So now we talked about the light, we talked about what it was, we talked about it being established. We know that it's talking about the commandments, but there's also a who to this light. There's a who to this light. And we're not, being mysterious here. We know that the who we've been discussing is that it's Yahweh Shai, but we're going to go through the process of, proving that and seeing how all of these things correlate to us. So just reestablishing this point now, we talked about the darkness, we talked about the Most High establishing that light. Now we want to talk about that light being manifested in the physical. And I think I said Colossians 1, and then just because this part is just a review, just start at 12, and then go through to 16.
Colossians chapter 1, starting at verse 12. Giving thanks to the Father who has qualified us to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in the light. He has delivered us from the power of darkness and conveyed us into the kingdom of the Son of his love, in whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins.
So you see, it's the Most High pulling us into this light, right? Go ahead.
Verse 15. He is the image of the invisible Elohim, the firstborn over all creation. For by him all things were created that are in the Shemayim and that are on the Artaz or earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created through him and for him.
So we're seeing Awar, the first connected to the Most High. So it's him and the Most High, and then all things are created. All things are created, and it says he's the image of the invisible, and he's the firstborn of every creature. He's Awar, the light, because we talked about Genesis 1. So let's go and see some of the things that were said about the Messiah, or he said, confirming some of these things that we are, or that I'm proclaiming up here. So if we can go to John chapter 8. John chapter 8. John chapter 8. John chapter 8 and verse 12, it says, Then Yahushua spoke again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. Awar, most common word used for light in Hebrew, awar. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness. So that's already telling you got to do something. But shall have the light of life. Life comes from the Most High. I am the light of the world. Awar. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness. We started in darkness. But you shall have the light of life.
comment on this. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but what world is Yahweh Shah the light to? Because the Most High created the light in the beginning, but when the flood came, the Most High chose a specific bloodline. So we saw earlier that this lamp or light was given to a specific people group. So this is like a 2-for-1 almost. This is a witness letting you know this is a light to Yasher Allah.
And that's what we getting to all that. Remember, it's a light to the Gentiles.
Come on down.
So we getting to that. And I also got a war to ball. That's the world. But that's Tabal is what Isaiah used in Isaiah 45 and 17. So we get into that. Great comment.
Nah, I was gonna land back.
Yeah.
I was gonna land back on what you said, but I know.
Let him cook.
I know this script is in
Let him
the
cook,
notes, so I
y'all.
don't want to say that.
Let him
I
cook.
know it is.
Go ahead, let him
Well, yeah, we'll what is it?
Matthew 5.
Oh yeah, see that's we ain't gonna be able to get to everything today. It's a lot. So that part, remember I said in the end, we're gonna get to the part where it's no longer about the Messiah, because it's about y'all. But we just ain't enough time. We gotta build
Let him
it.
cook.
We gotta build it.
I know it's there. That's why I said let you go.
I think Sister Olivia read that last time too. But it's great. Like make sure y'all are locked in. So it's important. Verse 42, same chapter. Remember, a war, the first thing connected or the first thing that came from, the first thing joined to the Most High. Yahushua says, verse 42, if the Most High were your father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from the Most High. A war. Y'all see that? I ain't making this up. But the Most High gotta have his son open your eyes to see that. Verse 46. Oh, well, no. I might have written the wrong thing. Yeah, I might have written the wrong thing.
It fits because he's talking about the truth. I say the truth.
You read 42.
8 and 46, because it fits what you're saying.
I'll let you bring it out. I don't know why I wrote that.
It fits what you're saying. It ties in because he's saying, John 8:46 fits your class because this is red letter. Messiah is saying, which of you convinces me of sin or convicts me of sin? And if I say the truth, so we know the truth is a mop. The truth is the light. So it fits what you're saying.
I appreciate it. Because like I said, sometimes it's a lot. So we're seeing that this light of the world, Tabal, a war Tabal, and I'm still learning because I didn't know is it Tabal, a war, or which I don't know the subjects in front of.
We don't follow their subjects, so how we learn how to speak, it'll pretty much be Tabal. The adjective would come last, like how the Spanish people do it.
Right.
So Spanish people are really speaking a broken Hebrew. So you would say Tabal, war.
So that's okay. So that's why I get that confused. Still learning. Let's go to John 1. John 1, the famous John 1.
Shema.
And 1 second. So a war, the first thing connected to the Most High. The first thing connected to the Most High was the light.
Come on now.
Awar. He said he was the light of the world.
Come.
We know that world is Yasha Allah.
Come on now.
So it's saying it all over the place. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, Awar. And the Word was with Yahweh. And the Word was a power. Because we know the Christians get that confused. We don't want to, that's not what the class is about at this time. And it says, the same was in the beginning with the Most High. All things were made by him, and without him there was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, Awar. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. When the light is there, darkness can't stand. Also in here, John 1, they talk about John, who was his cousin, the witness of the light. So verse 7, the same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him, the light, might believe. John was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light, that was the true light, the which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. Awar. That makes sense? I don't want to lose nobody. All right.
John was sent to establish.
Like Mashah, like Moses. Let's go over to John chapter 12. Shabbat. Then Yahushua said unto them, yet a little while is the light with you, walk while you have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walketh in darkness, sin, knoweth not whither he goeth, blinded. While you have the light, believe in the light, that you may also be the children of the light. That part will be revisited. But again, the goal for Yahushua was to be that example so we would know what to do. It's like embers from a fire. Even now with how I was saying, you have one person in Greensboro, one person in another city. It's like I'm an ember from the original light. And Nariah would be, and Tazabah would be, and Zaquan would be, and Thomas would be, and Jennifer would be, etc., etc. And if we have all of us having that same mind, being established, Narah, that establishment of the Most High, then that's how that flame and that light continues to just burn throughout wherever we go. So with that big, all those embers, if we got that many embers, that means that that flame must be pretty big. And then the Gentiles, the actual other nations, could see it. That's giving away what their role is when it says a light to the Gentiles. It's something for them to witness, to see, and we be the example. But we're going to get that's down the line.
I was just going to say that imagery is just amazing to me, because I know when there's a drought, they tell you not to light fire, because when the ground's dry, those embers can cause a whole fire, forest fire. So I think that's great imagery.
Thank you for that comment. That's teaching me something. Any other comments? John 12 and 35.
A drought of the truth. A drought of the word. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on now. That's what we're doing. We're causing forest fires. Look at Juice got her grandmom. She's the granddaughter. And she got her grandmom. We're setting fires around the world. Oh man, by Hashem Yahawashah.
So let's keep it pushing, picking up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
As I was, listening and we were reading John, going back to John 1, the Word, and Yahushua was the Word. He was with the Most High, right? He was the Word. And it just brought me in the light. It just brought me to Psalm 119, 105. Thy Word, Yahushua, right, is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And just speaking about walking the path, and He's leading and guiding us with the embers. That's what just came to my mind.
Yeah, that was in the, and that great, thank you. But that we put that in the class last time. So just go on the channel, review it for those, because we sped through. But I went back because she brought that out and read it, and it's good because y'all are seeing, like, now imagine my head. I'm thinking about all these precepts over and over. So that's exactly the whole point. I didn't even remember because I hadn't just seen it, but you reading it, word, lamp, light, all of it in one. Go ahead.
I just want to say that Psalms 119 and 105. They break down the passages by our letters of the alphabet, and the head of that 105 is 9.
Wow.
There it is. You can't make it up. It's not me. It's not. I'm telling y'all, it's not me. It's not me.
This is a cultural text, man. This is a cultural text.
I'm just going to read 106 because, Ra, you're establishing the chief, right? 106 says, I have sworn and I will perform it, that I will keep your righteous judgments. He's establishing the chief.
And the chief is establishing in us. So y'all see how it all connects. I know some of it, I try to talk slow, especially because some of these were review parts, so I was trying to skip through those parts. But all praises, if the Most High put it on your heart and mind, definitely say it. And y'all are seeing how it is connecting, that awar, that light was that word that was in the beginning with the Most High. So John 3 and verse 19. I'm going to start at that. Yeah, I'm going to just start at 18. It says, he that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he have not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of Yahweh. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, but men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For every one that doeth evil hateth the light. You're already condemned. Neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth, what's the truth? Commandments. But he that doeth the truth, what's the truth?
Commandments.
But he that keepeth the commandments cometh to the light, that his deeds, works, actions may be made manifest, that they are wrought in Yahweh. So light and darkness don't dwell together. If you're walking in darkness, and the context of this is that Yahushua is walking with them. So he's like, they got something different than what we got.
Right.
He's like, you need to walk in this light while the light is with you.
Right.
Come on, follow what I'm put down. He's trying to let them know like the light is here. And it gets deeper. Comments? So we back to this quote again with this movie, The Dark Knight Rises. He said, I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. Because you've been in darkness for so long that when you in a deep sleep and you first turn that light on or the sun rays hit you, you're like, you're looking crazy, right? So we can equate this, we talked about it last time, to a lot of us and our families, etc., that they've been shaped, molded, lived, tossed and turned, rolled, then it flipped back, in darkness, unaware the whole time. And you try to show them something, we try to show them the light, the Torah, the covenant. So we're bringing them this beaming, blinding light, and they sleep. It's dark. They looking at you like,
cut the light out.
Father, what must I, Master, what shall I do to inherit the kingdom? Oh, that's easy. Keep the commandments. And they're looking like, what? To us, it sounds plain, but to them, they blind. They can't see. But that's what Yahushua was sent for. Comment?
Just wanted to, oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to bring out something that it came to my thought when you were saying that. I don't know if you guys remember Gizmo. How they, in darkness, they were
Gremlins.
Yeah. And it was like they were just chaos in the darkness. As soon as the only thing that stopped them was the light. And it's just kind of brought to my remembrance.
Gremlins.
Yeah, gremlins, yeah. Gizmo. But yes, it just made me think that, in darkness, so much sin happens. And so, and that's why they want to stay there. They didn't want the light.
And then what happened when the water got on?
They multiplied. That's right, they did multiply. Go ahead.
So the key that we're moving into, because we all agree that light is Yahushua, right? Sister Zahab?
Oh, well, I was just gonna skip over it, but I really feel like just everything that you are bringing out is literally backing off what Nariah was telling the church on Saturday. And then we had a private conversation with my brother for like 45 minutes after church, and then he had a conversation with my mom and all of them. They ended up telling me what the conversation was about. But everything to him, obviously, when he was talking to Zamari and Nariah, was like fine. But then he went back and he talked to my mom, and he was like, everything just seems judgmental, and you can't do anything and all of that. And I'm like, these scriptures speak to the fact that you love darkness. It looks good to you. It feels good to you. And I even told Nariah, and I've even told my mom and them, I'm like, my brother out of everybody will have a lot of adjustments to make to his life. Wow. And it feels convicting to him, but he's seeing it as like it's just judgmental. But it's like, no, it's bringing forth your sin. It's bringing forth the ignorance and the evil that you've been in that probably feels so good you're getting by with. But this thing really would convict you. Like, give the light the ability to shine and stay lit. But it's like you said, it's harming people's eyes and it don't feel good. So this is just, this is let me back off of everything that was brought out on Saturday.
Because this light is shining in my face right up here in this light. But no, I mean, I feel like we all still adjusting. It's still, each and every day, it's like, dang, this is not, something easy because we still in the land of darkness.
One thing I was, I still have little daydreams of how to interact with people. I still be having, I keep still having daydreams how to interact with people, so I don't get too passionate because, you know, again, when we get too passionate, they say, "Oh, you guys are so aggressive." But the pastors can moonwalk and come through tight ropes and all kind of mess, and y'all, they love that stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to be. I even at one daydream, I actually took my shoes off and sat down while the brother stood up and talked to me, just to show them that I'm not aggressive. I'm here to help. So I want to take away any form of aggression that you think of. So I would even sit on the ground as you talk to let you know I'm not here to be an aggressor, but I'm here to help. And the one thing came to my mind the other day at work is, and maybe when we go back, Mariah, you can add this to your class too, but like we're witnessing now about the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I would sincerely ask that person and tell them to ponder on it. Don't answer right now, but take this with you. Do you really care about pleasing the Most High? Because if you don't, this conversation is a waste of time. If you just want to be nosy, why I wear fringes, why I don't do Christmas. So I would, and this for everyone with your personal witness, before you go start breaking down who we are in the law, ask them, take this home, and if you come back or text me, I know you're serious, do you really care about pleasing the Most High? Because if you don't, and look, no harm, no foul, if you don't, just say you don't. Because again, when I was a sinner, I didn't want to go, I'm not done. I like doing this. I like bed hopping. I like club hops. Mom, I'm not coming to church tomorrow. I like my sin right now. I'm making money. I'm having fun. I'm out here with my friends. So you have to be real, be honest. Tell us, Father, I'm not done sinning. And then you can save me my time. I can move on to someone who wants to please the Most High. If that makes sense.
Ooh, all I can say is, again, is reiterating everything that I feel like I've been saying. And I feel like I've had so much spiritual warfare with my family since everything has been going on. But, you know, I have a family member that says the same thing, like I'm not being patient with them or all these different things. And I'm like, it really boils down to, do you want to serve the Most High? Because we keep having the exact same conversations. I mean, it's been years now. The exact same conversations about the exact same thing. And I don't want to be to a point where I'm almost casting myself out of the kingdom because I'm now irritated with the fact that we keep having the same conversation. So I'm at a point now where I'm like, you know, I have to lead you to somebody else that's within the walk because you're not hearing my words, or you're not hearing me even when I'm bringing the scriptures to you. You're not hearing it. So you are just reiterating everything that I've said. Like, and I've asked that question: how bad do you want to serve the Most High? And it's gotten down to, well, it's not really about that, is it? What else is it about?
And give them grace. Let them know you could be honest. If you ain't tired of sinning, because the Most High know you ain't tired of sinning. So just be like, I ain't tired of getting high. I ain't tired of sleeping around. You have to be adult and say, I know, because how many of us sin when we was in the world? I know if I die tonight, I'm going to hell, but I like this life right now. Because, you know, when you're young, I got time. So make them be adults. Are you tired of sinning? Do you care about pleasing the Most High? And just be real and move on.
I was just going to say a broken and contrite heart, like the Most High. You have to come to him.
Well, speaking of that, exactly, Psalm 51, even David said, you know, Most High desires truth on the inward heart. So you got to first be real with yourself. Because again, just like the text says, no one can come to Mashiach unless the Father draws them.
Come on,
right? So if they're still not done sinning, or if they're still very comfortable in the world, no matter what you say, no matter what they see, they're not coming.
Come on now.
They're not coming. And that's where, you know, myself, and this is just me, I go back to, you know, what the Most High said to Samuel concerning Saul. Samuel was crying over Saul because, you know, the Most High took his hand off Saul. And Samuel was crying over him. And the Most High said to Samuel, yo, why are you still crying over him? I've already chosen another. And, you know, and that's, you know, that's real for us. You know what I mean? If the Most High has given you a word, or he's allowed you to, you know, show forth the light unto your peoples by your you know, by your deeds as well, and they're still not getting it, you have to move on, because there's someone else that the Most High has chosen to receive. So we can't cry over the ones who choose to continue in this lifestyle, in this construct, because there's someone else who the Most High has chosen to receive, and our work has to, reflect upon them.
All praises.
Kind, and I just want to say I appreciate you sharing that, because I think my issue, and I think I've been saying it to Mariah, hearing, the people say you're not being patient, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing that, it makes you question yourself, like, Most High, am I not doing this thing the way that you see fit to help your people? So the fact that you were saying that is just all praises, because that resonates with me.
So there's so much you can do.
I'm gonna say this, and then I'll get back to cooking. When the doctor tell you to fast so you can get this test to see if you got cancer or whatever, you fast. When the doctor tells you you can't have because you're scared to die. So do you know that the lifestyle you're living it leads to death? So that's how you got to put it to him. Like you think you're too judgmental. You being too. When the doctor tells you something, you do it right away. So that's what it is.
That's perfect, and that's why we started with what darkness was. If you separated from the Most High, you on the outside of the gate.
Come on now.
It tells you on the outside are liars, thieves, sorcerers, whoremongers, adulterers. You gonna be lumped in with them. Then that's why I establish what is the darkness first, because that's gonna show where you gonna stay unless you start to understand and come into this light. And just to make sure everybody's on the same page, plus we got my big op, much love to you, brother, that just came in. Like, this was just a quote from that movie, The Dark Knight Rises. You've probably seen it before. But we was just talking about the fact that us and then our family members, etc., have been in darkness for so long that when we try to bring them the truth, they can't see it, because when it's dark and you first see that light, you can't really see. You're like squinting, you're trying to see because you still, your vision is blurred. So blind is just keep this imagery in your mind, because this is how I see stuff, with the images and the imagery of what's going on. And then we're going to start seeing things being walked out. So before, we covered the darkness, and then we said that light is the Messiah, just in case, make sure you're on the same page with us. And now that that light that was with the Most High in the Shemayim, the light is amongst the people now. The light is amongst the people. So we're going to go to John chapter 9, and I got brother Anthony, if you don't mind, just start at verse 1. I don't have it it's kind of like by ear type thing.
John chapter 9, starting at verse 1. Now as Yahushua passed by, he saw a man who was blind from birth.
He's blind, y'all.
In darkness.
He's in darkness from birth, just like us. Keep going.
And his disciples asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he is born blind?
Pause. You didn't even do nothing when you was born. You just was born in darkness. You didn't even do anything. Go ahead.
Yahushua answered, neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of the Most High should be revealed in him. I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. The night is coming when no one can work.
Stop. The day is equated to light. Night is equated to
darkness.
The light is with Yasharallah, so it's day. And he said, I must do my work while it's day, because at night,
can't work.
Now this is like a little sidebar, since I got some people in here. So we would be, and I think I know the answer, but we in the state of darkness now as a whole, because the light is no longer with us. That could be why some of those works don't get done like it was supposed to. All right, so keep reading.
Verse 5, as long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he said these things, he spat on the ground and made clay with the saliva, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. And he said to him, go wash in the pool of Siloam, which is translated sin. So he went and washed and came back seeing. Therefore, the neighbors and those who previously had seen that he was blind said, "Is not this he who sat and begged?" Some said, "This is he." Others said, "He is like him." He said, "I am he." Therefore they said to him, "How were your eyes opened?" He answered and said, "A man called Yahushua made clay and anointed my eyes and said to me, 'Go to the pool of Siloam and wash.' So I went and washed, and I received sight." Then they said to him, "Where is he?" He said, "I do not know." Keep going.
A little bit more, yeah.
They brought him who formerly was blind to the Pharisees. Now it was a Shabbat when Yahushua made the clay and opened his eyes. Then the Pharisees also asked him again how he had received his sight. He said to them, "He put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and I see."
Stop. So, does anybody see the imagery of what's going on? What is the purpose for this whole thing? For him to see this blind man and to perform this miracle. Think about imagery, think about functionality, think about metaphors. Think about, well, I said that already. You got something?
I mean, I'll just say what I think. I mean, I think this like specific miracle or healing that he's doing is kind of like symbolic of what he's doing for us as a nation. Like we're all blind and are not seeing, who the Most High is. So, yeah.
Y'all see what he's saying? Do y'all see it now, if you didn't? He's performing this in the midst of the nation. And it's a greater purpose as to why this man was blind from birth. And until the Messiah came, he unblinded his eyes. Y'all see this? Y'all gonna see some more.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of what you read in Maccabees.
When the sun shone.
Right. The sun being out for many years, the light being out for many years. And the only thing when the priest had came back, it was thick water all over the torch. But it says sprinkle water on it and then rested it on the altar. And then when the sun came out of the cloud, the fire was kindled. So, you look at Yahushua spitting on the ground to make clay. So he sprinkled some water, if you will, on the clay, putting it in the man's eyes. And when the sun, the Messiah, was on the man, the fire or the light was rekindled in the man's eyes for the first time after many years, saying he was being blind from birth. I'm just making a similitude in my mind from Maccabees to this.
I got you. Let me see if I can do this. So the next part, I want to play another song.
Before you do that, just that whole, symbolism, like you said, just everything. This blind man being blind from birth, and Mashiach tells him to go into the pool of Siloam, then he's sent, right? So I'm going, go to where you were sent, and I'm going to unblind you so that you become a light unto these nations. Go to whom you were sent. Go to whom you were sent, and I'm unblinding you because you're going to be, what I'm doing is going to become that light unto the nations. Right. And that's exactly what he's doing to us, right? Go to whom you were sent, because if we go back to Deuteronomy, like I said, I don't want to stomp on your toes in your teaching.
Deuteronomy 4.
Deuteronomy 4, exactly. Who we were supposed to be amongst the nations, to be a light unto the nations. And he's telling this man, I'm going to unblind. Go to whom you were sent. I'm unblinding you so to be that light unto the nations.
And when he was sent, his family's like, oh, you used to be blind. The Pharisees, the preachers, you used to be blind. How did you recover your sight? And then you witness Yahushua did it. This is getting. I'm telling you.
That's so beautiful. I love the imagery. Why we park here? I was just gonna ask you, Samaria, is there anything that you would? And I think Mariah was touching on it. Would you elaborate any or at all with the use of the clay and the spit? Like, you know what I mean? Would that be any? I don't know. Would you see that?
I would pass that to someone who feels like they does have it off the top of my head. You know, it says that we were made.
There you go.
Yeah. Go ahead. You got it.
Let's go back to the beginning. I'm going to take from the earth. You know what I mean? So Mashiach used himself, and we're back to the earth. He gave
Blue eyes.
your eyes. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Make everything new again.
But even with that, I would have to like take my time and break it down, because when it says he made him from the dust of the earth, it just meant he spoke him into existence. So I can't even say exactly what that clay represented without, you know, doing due diligence, because it's not technically even dirt. It's a spiritual thing. So
this is crazy because my rib just handed me her phone, and this is Isaiah 64:8. But I think this thing is smack. 64:8. But now, oh Yahweh, thou art our Father, we are the clay, and thou art potter, and we are all the work of thy hand.
So that means, so he just repairing, he just reshaping, he's remolding that clay. That makes perfect sense, and that's why I said we all need everybody. We all need each other. Everybody. And see, this is how you know when it's right, because the embers is popping up everywhere. Let Olivia go first.
Just to lay me back off of the John 9 point what Ant was talking about, it was reminding me of when Yahushua rose Lazarus from the dead. In John 11, verse 4, it says, when Yahushua heard that, he said, "This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of Yah and the Son of Yah, that he might be glorified." And then also you think about Ezekiel 37, just talking about the valley of the dry bones, like, you know, the Most High coming back, waking up his people. And so, yeah, it's just the parallel, like in the Gospels and the
precepts.
The prophets, excuse me. But yeah, all praises. Just
Exactly. That's exactly like it's he's doing a work to show a microcosm of a greater work. That's what I wanted y'all to see. Narayan was next.
Well, I'm glad that Sister Olivia went ahead and went, because it makes my statement all the more simple. When it comes to all of this, I don't know exactly the mindset of the Most High as to why Yahushua did what he did, but I will say Yahushua used different means to heal people. He touched some, he spoke to some, etc., etc., etc. But the point is, because we are the clay and the Most High is the workman, if you will, Yahushua is doing these things just like him being raised from the dead. It's all for us to believe in Yahweh. Like that's what I was saying to the church. This whole book is for us to believe that Yahweh is everything for us. So by any means he can use, just like with the apostles, there were some that were healed just by their shadow touching some people. So the point is, the Most High, when we're keeping his commandments, he'll send the healing really in any way we need it. If it's you dipping yourself in water 7 times and healing leprosy, or if somebody just saying, be healed. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'll yield it.
Khan, Tazabah.
I just wanted to add, man, we have old-fashioned Bible study, but to that clay that he made, Messiah is always trying to get them to go back to prophecy. That's why when we brought out Just Give Me Book TV, the Christians want to use all these Greek tools, exegesis, eisegesis, and hermeneutics, and systematic theology, but our ancestors, they don't use those tools, they use prophecy. So when he made that mud on his eyes, he was trying to get them to remember prophecy. And Isaiah chapter 8 is where I'm going. All praise to the Most High, just brought it to my attention. Isaiah chapter 8, I started verse 16. He says, let me not shortchange the Most High. We started Isaiah 8 and 14. Isaiah 8 and 14. And he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, and for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. Bind up the testimony, seal the law, the Torah, among my disciples. And I will wait upon Yahweh that hides his face from the house of your cloud, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom Yahweh hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Yasharallah, from the Yahweh of Tazabah host, which dwells in Mount Zion. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their Elohim, for the living to the dead? To the law and testimony, they speak not according to this word, is because there is no light in them. And they shall pass through it hardly bestead and hungry, and it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their God, and look upward. Verse 22 is what we came for. This is Isaiah 8 and 22. And they shall look unto the earth, and behold trouble and darkness and dimness of anguish. They shall be driven to darkness. So everything the Most High was Messiah was trying to do, and there's a hand on inside the Zoom. Messiah was trying to jog these Israelites' mind back to the prophets. Y'all around here wearing all these long phylacteries, got these beautiful togas on, but y'all blinded, and that's why y'all can't see me. Isaiah spoke about the blindness that's going to be on y'all. So the Messiah making that clay, trying to remind the people, y'all eyes are being blinded by y'all pride and y'all puffed up. I know the Torah, I know the law, I sit under Gamaliel. All that is garbage. The light is here, and y'all can't see it. So that's why he was trying to, that imagery, he was trying to get them to think about the prophecy. Why we having a problem? This man has not done not one bad thing. Name something bad that he's done. You say he's casting out devils by the devil. Your eyes have been blinded. Isaiah spoke of these people.
Zamaria online.
Shalom, Mashapat. Can y'all hear me clear?
Con.
All praises. I just want to go back to I think it was John 9 when you were talking about the blind man, and I just want to say, man, this just reminded me of a couple things, man. There's so many things going through my mind, but first thing that I can say is, last week I was reading the scripture, man, for Nariah in the church service. I'm not sure where it was. I know it was in the apocrypha. And the scripture blessed me while I was reading it, man. I began to choke up because it's just amazing to see prophecy being fulfilled. And when you were bringing that John 9 out, the blind man, to me, what I saw was a parallel exactly is what's happening it's what's happening to us today, and it reminds me of what Nariah says when we should be grateful that we can see these things and we see these truths. It reminds me of Kapah when Christ asked him, he said, who do the people say that I am? And he said, you are the Christ. And what did Christ say? He said, flesh and blood have not revealed this unto you, but my Father in heaven. And so it's just amazing to see that what happened even then, even with Christ using the clay to open the guy's eyes, is happening to us even at this moment. Christ, or the Most High, revealing who that light is and what we should be doing and following. It's just amazing to see this stuff manifest, man. And I just want to say all praise to the Most High for this class. It's just tremendous. It's a whole bunch of good stuff in it, man. And I love y'all. Shalom.
Shalom. Love you too. And Khan, that's why, I try to use the parallels when I see things in media or the movies, and try to correlate it to how, us and our family members have been in darkness. And this one work that he was doing on this blind man in John 9 is symbolic. It's symbolic of a greater work. If now it's great that Tazabah Abijah brought out about the prophecy, because that's what I'm about to go into now, is how we started off, what is darkness, um, the light being established in Israel or Yasharallah, the light going out in Zion, and us being in darkness again. And then what is the light? Finding out about that. And then who is the light? Now, we all in here participate. Raise your hand if you believe in the Messiah. Keep your hand up. Keep your hand up if you believe, though we know that the New Testament is corrupt, we know that it gives us enough meat to be able to understand who this man was and some of the works that he was able to do. And that he was able to fulfill things that was previously said about him. So let's see about some of these things. I got Brother Anthony, can you go to Isaiah 61? Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61. And just start at the top.
Isaiah 61, starting at verse 1. The spirit or the Ruach of Yahweh Elohim is upon me, because Yah has anointed me to preach good tidings to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh.
Stop. Now, let's go forward, and I'm going to just play this tune real quick and let them read it. And let's just lock in, focus on the imagery, focus on what that prophecy just said, and then we'll continue.
Then Yahusha went back to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and the news about him spread through the entire region. And he began teaching in their synagogues, and was praised and glorified and honored by all. So he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as was his custom, he entered the synagogue on the Sabbath, and stood up to read. The scroll of the prophet Isaiah was handed to him. He unrolled the scroll, and found the place where it was written, The Spirit of Yah is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to announce forgiveness to the captives, and recovery of sight to the blind, to set free those who are oppressed, downtrodden, bruised, crushed by tragedy, to proclaim the favorable year of Yah, the day when salvation and the favor of Yah abound greatly. Then he rolled up the scroll, having stopped in the middle of the verse, gave it back to the attendant, and sat down to teach. In the eyes of all those.
So y'all notice how, and we can turn to it, one of them, Luke chapter 4. Nariah, we just heard it, but I had Ox stop when he says to proclaim the acceptable year of the Most High, because the Messiah, that's where he read and stopped, because that part was fulfilled. So if you could read Luke 4 and just go over kind of what Eshawn was just going over. That was Eshawn Burgundy, called Words from the Wise. And Luke 4 and 16.
Shema. Book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Shabbat day, and stood up for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Yashayah, or Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, The Ruach, or Spirit of Yahweh, is upon me, because he hath appointed me to preach the Basar, or gospel, to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of the sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of Yahweh.
21.
21. And he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears.
How powerful is that last part? The Messiah standing in front of you and is telling you that this day, this part of this scripture, this scroll that's been with y'all all these years, has been fulfilled and manifested in the earth. And what was one of the things that Isaiah wrote that whoever this was going to do? Recover the sight to the blind. Now y'all see why he went to that blind man and opened that blind man's eyes? Shema, if you with me. The imagery to me is powerful because this is written thousands of years before he even did it. And then our people see him do it and got no clue what's going on. No clue what's happening. Narayan?
I just wanted to say a quick comment. On the way to the men's fellowship a few weeks ago, Ant and I were kind of talking about this. And you remember when I kept saying, I pray that in the times of our salvation, I don't miss it. Because Yahweh Shai is recovering sight to the blind. But not just physically, it's a spiritual blindness, that deep sleep that the Most High told Isaiah about. I'm sending a spirit of deep sleep to the people. And even though the light is right there, they miss it. So I pray that when the Most High does it again, we don't miss it and we don't remain blind. But I just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
All praises to the Most High Yah. This is a powerful Bible study. Never seen this before. Most High, like you said, this is a live download. To preach the acceptable year of the Lord. The word year is a pagan word. We would use Shana. And Shana means something that returns. As the seasons return, so we use the word Shana. So what Messiah just told them, and I just looked up the Greek word acceptable. The Greek word acceptable is dektos. Dektos. Dektos means approved. So what Messiah just told them, this is the approved return of Abba to y'all. By me being here with you, this is Abba returning to y'all. His return is approved by me being here. This is the approved return of Abba to the Israelites.
And what did Isaiah also say? Emmanuel is a sign that means
Abba is with y'all.
Bam.
Abba is with us.
It's right there.
How can you reject Messiah when he's giving you all these Hebrewisms? Abba's back with y'all because of me.
And I just want to say again, y'all, it's not Abijah. It's not me. It's the Most High. And y'all just seen it just like that. Just how it happens over time. He just will show you these things. And that also goes into the next, the part, the closing, as we get ready to close for this part, because it'll be a part 3. So this is kind of like starting to bring it home. So I put up here a light to the Gentiles. Rereading some of this in Luke 4, he said he's going to preach the gospel to the poor, to the brokenhearted, heal the brokenhearted, deliverance to captives, and then recover the sight to the blind, liberty of those that are bruised. Who is that?
Israelites.
Just that alone, when you see that phrase, a light to the Gentiles, what would you say it's talking about?
Turn them to the law.
Anybody else?
It's like a flare going off.
A light to the Gentiles. Who were those Gentiles?
Lawless.
Now I know that.
Lawless
Yeah,
Israelites.
I'm giving it away.
Yeah, lawless Israelites.
But if I'm not trying to say, because it's going to be proven or more witnesses. But like even with just this, if all the prophecies is talking, they will agree that the Old Testament is talking about the Israelites. And just seeing that, if he's saying that this light that we've been talking about is recovering sight to the blind, the people who've been captive, the people who've been brokenhearted, and more witnesses and stuff as we go, but it's already telling you who it's talking about. So this word, I didn't do extensive on it. We talked about it before, and I'll redo it next time, but we'll also do like we did earlier with Nara, and I already got the answers, not saying those are correct, saying some of the things that these things could be. So I have the word that they use most common in translation. If you look in your Bible for the word nations, they'll say goy, or if you put it in the ancient for us, gawa, gawayam. But if you go to the root, so I got both. I got the word that they use, and then I got the root. The root, when you dig all the way as far back as possible, will be gara or gar. So I got both. I got gawa and garar. So we starting right here with gawa first. As a family, doing it together. I just put this in here, sitting here talking to Ox. So it ain't like, super all the way broke down like we normally do. We just talking through it together. But talking about Gentiles, gawa. So that word, just not to make it be a mystery or nothing like that, just straightforward. It's just a word that means nations. But the word could be used for more than one thing depending on the context. So the context could be positive, negative. It could be Gentiles, meaning nations, other nations. It could be Gentile, meaning nation of Israel, which I'm going to show you that. And it can just mean nations in a general sense. So it's no specific, but we are trained in English. When we hear Gentiles, the first thing we think is other nations.
Yeah, that's right.
Or, So in Hebrew, if we use the gawa, the word before we get to the root word, and since I didn't do where the words are hidden, but one thing that I found out that foot could mean, that up there, foot, walk, pride. One of my notes showed that it can mean gather. And that took my brain to a whole nother level. And I just seen this 2-3 in the morning last night. Anybody, what would y'all say that this is? And like I said, some of the words is already on the screen, but what would y'all go off for Gentile in a sense? What would you get from it? Anybody?
Well, when I look at it, I think of to gather and secure, or to gather the seal, because a tent peg can secure something and hold it in place. And we know the only people who were meant to ever be secured, as far as the prophets, is Israel.
And then if it's Gawa Yam, you're secure to who?
Yeah.
So when I seen this, I'm like, if you understand the Hebrew, to me, if it's saying a light to the Gawa Yam, he's coming to function out and be a light to gather and secure the nation back to Yah. And I know y'all got precepts. I know y'all got precepts for that.
Just came up. Zephaniah. I would gather my dispersed.
Oh yeah.
I would gather my dispersed. Where is that at, y'all? I can't. I'm drawing a blank. we gathered my dispersed from the rivers of Egypt. 798, is it?
I know it's like all over the place. I
Or
don't
5?
know.
Is it 795? 793. Right, because after the pure language. After you say, I'm going to give them a pure language.
793.
3, come. Now, that's the one that popped in my mind.
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, even the daughter of my dispersed shall bring mine offering. Some of that one.
Come, that's the one that popped in my mind.
Come, I mean, and it's all over the place.
And just to help you out as and be a witness, one of the main words for feast, in the Bible in the Hebrew is kag. So the kag is the foot, is the tent wall and the foot. We're walking to the tabernacle to have a feast.
Come.
So that's the support what you're saying. The foot can mean to gather, because the cog of tabernacles, we're walking to the tent. We're walking to the elder's tent. That's.
And we're gathering together.
We're gathering together.
Got
so
you.
That supports your foot means gather.
Because I didn't even have. Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 2 reminded me, because you remember I told you I've been reading. I just been in Isaiah for the past month or so, just going over it over and over again, and it's starting to make sense as to why. Isaiah chapter 2 verse 5, I'm reading the Septuagint. It kind of reads pretty much the same, but here. It just says, and now, O house of Yahweh, come and let us walk in the light of Yahweh, for he has forsaken his people, the house of Yashar'Allah, because their land is filled as at the beginning with divinations, as the land of the Philistines, and many strange children were born to them. For their land is filled with silver and gold, and there was no number of their treasures. Their land also is filled with horses, and there was no number of their chariots, and the land is filled with abominations, even the works of their hands. And they have worshipped the works which their fingers made, and the mean man bowed down, and the great man was humbled, and I will not pardon them. Now therefore enter ye into the rocks, and hide yourselves in the earth, for fear of Yahweh, and by reason of the glory of his might, and ye shall arise to strike terribly the earth. And I'll stop right there, but verse 5 is really what stuck out to me when you see that right there, because you see what I just read. He's scattering the people because of their sins. Gawa. But verse 5, it says, O house of Jacob, come and let us walk in the light of Yahweh.
And what I see with that, so he like Isaiah and having us speak, have come let us walk in the light. We walk towards the light, and the light is one coming to get us.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Did you make the glyphs, the Hebrew glyphs for that?
No, I just put the words.
Because what popped in my mind, some of us in here, we're old enough, we didn't grow up with timeout. We grew up with stuff like, I'm gonna put my foot in your behind. So go wild, you get the foot at your behind.
So then I can kind of see that more too with the going into the next.
I got a quick question, because because I've seen Gaya as well. So is it 3 words? Can you say Gawaya as well?
Well, they say, when I looked at the verse, because I was confused, because at first I was like, now I know I learned in here, Gar, and I couldn't figure out where it came from, so I went and like read the little Hebrew scroll, and then I was trying to find the word and some of the characters, and I could read awar, so it said la awar, and then I didn't know what the Ga was in that old script language, and it's like a seven, like a little 7 that's leaning, and they have God, it was Ga Wa Yam. So it was Ga Wa Yam. So I was like, okay, so it is word. So Ga Wa Ya Ma. And then the root of that could go to Gar. And with this one, with the root, it's like those being sent away from the Most High, or they could have voluntarily walked away as well. The foot and the head of a man, which is the chief, which is the Most High. And we have precepts, Deuteronomy, I think it's 32, Jubilees, 15 that shows how the Most High divided the nations, took Israel, and sent the other nations away, the Gentiles. That makes sense? But, go ahead.
That's another point, going back to what we said, just give me a book. If he wanted us to teach all the nations, why didn't he just put everybody in Zion?
Exactly.
Why would we just have one big mountain? Like,
exactly. And even so, even with that though, even though it can be the ones he sent away to other nations, they don't have the Torah, Gar-Yah, or Gar-Yam, Gentiles, as in the other nations. The northern kingdom also got sent away and became not a people. So then they would represent Gar-Yam as well. That makes sense? Gentiles. So according to the blue letter, it's a bunch of gibberish. I know it's bunched up, but the point of it is, it says one nation, people, generic words. A, specially or specifically of descendants of Abraham. See, they already starting to tell you. B, definitely of Israel. So it's telling you that when this word Gentile is used in those specific passages, that it definitely means Israel. And it could be Gentiles or nation, right? But even with that, they won't always know which one it is, because the Most High ain't give them that. So it's not an exact for them to know. It's just a general sense to show y'all that this one word can mean multiple things depending on the context. And they just repeat the same thing. Nation, people, usually of non-Hebrew people. Right. Then it could be descendants of Abraham, and then it could be Israel. See what I'm saying?
The church won't tell you that.
Yeah, and that was my question, because I remember speaking to a family member, and I was trying to explain the differences in Gentiles. And so since they don't know that from the church, I mean, it was like a big deal. Like, they were like, wait a minute, so you mean Gentiles have two meanings? Where can you show me that in the Bible? You know, so my question to you is, how can we differentiate or prove that? Like, we know that, but how do we show it to them?
Well, we'll revisit and see if the answer is in the class, and if it's not, then we'll revisit it.
Yeah, it's not hard, sis. He's probably gonna cover it.
Now, just to your point, and to what Jennifer was talking about, and I have research on it. A brother of mine, he gave to me the word Gentile, just like a lot of the stuff in the so-called New Testament. The word Gentile is a made-up word. It was used to trip everybody up. See what I'm saying? It was never supposed to be there. Just like what we're reading today. So.
And like what you sent, Nariah, that's just to me, I could be wrong, but all of that, I mean, it's kind of the same, but it's just them. They put goy, so then they're filling in characters and letters. The O's were wa, the wa. So even with that, and then they just put Ga-ya, it still would be Ga-wa-ya. So it's the same thing, like I was saying.
I was just making sure I wasn't tripping with the Ga-ya, because I knew I saw Gar and Ga-wa, but I didn't know if Ga-ya was like a word as well.
Yeah, it was confusing me, so I just went to that parallel website. I text it out again and just read the old Hebrew, the second generation Hebrew. That's the best way I can tell if the characters are actually supposed to be there or not. So we covered that, and now let's get into some of the proofs or the text to see if what is saying is making sense or adding up. And then this one is Isaiah chapter 42. Isaiah chapter 42. and it's talking about the servant, because I was saying how the prophecies will let us know, the truth, especially seeing them being played out in real time. And this is talking about the servant. Shema, verse 1 says, "Behold my servant whom I uphold, mine elect." I didn't have time, it just came in my head. If we go over Enoch, and I put like Enoch, and I did it before in the class, because I said he's the elect one, Yahweh Shai. We are the elect ones with a plural. So it's already saying, "Behold, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth, have put my spirit upon him." Yahweh put his spirit upon his elect one, singular, Yahweh Shai, and he shall bring forth judgment to the Gar Yam, or the Ga Wa Yam, the Gentiles, right? And then we go down and see some of the stuff I didn't put. I just put the main one on there. Yeah. So no, I think I didn't put that there on purpose. But so yeah, we'll come back. But verse 7 is another witness to Isaiah and Luke, where his mission, whoever this servant was, which according to the New Testament is saying that Yahweh Shai played these things out. So this is proven that he is who he said he is according to the prophecies, if we believe in those writings, which we said in here we do. To open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness. And we all said in the beginning that we were sitting in darkness, out of the prison house, right? So I'm going to come back to this chapter, but these are some proclamations made, prophecies made about the Messiah before time. So I put it on the screen. This is Enoch chapter 48. Enoch chapter 48. And I think I wanted to I think it's not that long. So Nariah, if you don't mind reading that for us. Enoch chapter 48. I'm using the one that's in the Sefer. I think that's the R.H. Charles or something like that. I think that's the translation for the people online. It's the Enoch out of the Sefer.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, sir.
I definitely don't want to interrupt your thought. And I just wanted to backtrack a little bit to Sis' question, because me and Joy were just talking about that, and as I'm learning, that has been I would say not a stumbling block, because I feel like y'all have taught it out to where I can see it in the scripture more when we start talking about the Gentiles. But so I think it's like a two-part question real quick. Would you say it's safe to say when you read or see strangers, that's kind of like when the Most High is addressing like other nations other than Yasharala, and then when we see Gentiles, is it consistent to where that's us lost in other nations that we are trying to recover from, or that's not something you can actually say?
It's not consistent with either word. I would say sometimes, a lot of times strangers is, but sometimes strangers is talking about us too. So it's really the context of what's going on, because when they were sent away, like a lot of people like to use Isaiah 56. And I wrote, dang, that's crazy. I didn't know this was going to come up, but I got a note on my desk. Isaiah 56 talks about the strangers and the sons of strangers. And then there's another precept that says sons of strangers. And I wrote them down because it's like, if it's saying what the Christians teach, then it's what's that word? Conflict.
It's a conflation.
Yeah, they don't mix. But that's just a note I got on my desk. I don't have it all like laid out. But to me, when it was talking about sons of strangers in Isaiah 56, it still was talking about us. But I would have to like take time so I could show and like prove what I'm saying. So I just say all that to say that it just depends on the context.
Because we got a law. When he was setting this up, he says you should not sell the land because y'all are strangers with me. This is my land. So we can't sell this land to no one. I can let you have it, but he said, y'all are strangers with me. Y'all are attached to me now. So right in Deuteronomy, he's calling us strangers. So you just got to check the context, because these editors, these Bible societies, they don't know what they're reading. They don't know what they're reading.
And that's where I guess I was getting at, and I'm gonna just part right here to not interrupt you, Shamara. I feel like that's where I think destroying Christian dogma for me is still a steady work in progress, because I know I've been taught so many times. There's a few junk points in the script where even when I think Peter had that vision on the roof, and then he went to, I think, Cornelius. I was told he was a Roman soldier, but he was already keeping all these things. So I think from here, y'all had made me see that. Like, how can he be a non-Israelite, but he was receiving favor, the Most High received? So I was like, wow, that's making sense. So it's like, as I stopped trying to like hold hands with all the images we see, it's always us holding hands with all, is why, all these different nations, and we don't want to like be possessive. But once I start really trying to see the script for what it's really saying, it makes more sense.
And I'm 100% with you, and I still get confused. I just have to read things like a gazillion times, pray, and get the Most High to show. And some stuff is like, I don't know, and it's on the back table, and then you read, and then something just pops out, like something just popped out here, and it'll be in here. And so I'm right there with you. I totally understand. And even with that, with the soldiers, when John was preaching in the wilderness, that a group of soldiers, he was preaching to them, and all the Israelites was gathered around. So that helped me even more see that group with Cornelius. That to me is he had to be an Israelite, devout man. And then the soldiers already was with John in the wilderness. So I'm like, well, that's another witness to that. And we ain't done with it. So like the question is, it's still going. It's still going in this too. And it'll go next time as well.
Y'all still have a hymn out there? Yeah. I think sis line.
I did. I was just asking maybe, or just thinking maybe that's what we use. And I don't know if that helps, like Bible Hub and the Blue Letter Bible in that context to look to see what that word is, because that's how it breaks down what it means in that context, right?
Sometimes, yeah, but then too, sometimes they don't know.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah, so I do use those. I use those things. Like if I showed my tabs, you will see them. But then you will find out that sometimes even they still don't know. So it's kind of like a. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say for Kapah, when you just to help validate what you're saying, Shamar, the context is important. Leviticus chapter 25, verse 23, the KJV says, "The land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine, for ye are strangers and sojourners with me." But when you look at the language, the word for stranger is garyan or gara. And that word sojourner is tashab. So when you parse out the word tashab, the the two front teeth in the house, the Most High isn't mocking us or demeaning us. He's saying you are following and being sealed and added to me. And sojourners, tashab, you're marked and joined to the house. So he's pretty much saying, I've chosen you for myself. So y'all are in my house now. So he's not saying like y'all are foreigners and I don't know y'all. So that word sojourner or stranger in English, it just like what Shamar said, it can come off as like disrespectful or other nation type thing. But that's not the context, and that's not the meaning as how the Most High is trying to convey it when you look at the Hebrew word. I'll write it down and send it to you though.
You got something to go ahead, Otis.
No, I was just gonna say, a lot of times just reading. I know some people may have now gotten there yet, just reading some of these, lost books that we read, apocrypha, things of that nature. You'll see where, Israelites were part of some of these armies and things of that nature. So again, just reading what Cornelius and some of the things that he was doing, only an Israelite would know. You know what I mean? So that's how you would know that Cornelius wasn't of the other nations. He was, Israelite.
And I was going to add too, the Cornelius thing. You have to put world history in perspective. And the world of the first century, even the pagans, like you guys watched the Game of Thrones, even those pagan countries were very spiritual. So if the Romans defeated the Jews, the Israelites, in their minds, our gods are stronger than your gods. So why would I be Cornelius being a Roman? Why would I want to follow your God when we defeated you? So my God is stronger than your God. That don't make any logical sense. But to Jennifer and Kapa's question for everyone, when you get a conundrum like that, where the text is just not jiving, go back to prophecy and take your family back to prophecy and ask them, can you show me two prophecies where the Most High promised to gather the nations? Because we can just spit off tons. I'm going to gather Israel. Joel 3, Amos.
Isaiah
Can you
14.
can you do the same things where the Father promised to gather nations to be with Him? So the prophecy is going to trump all these wicked translations. Prophecy trump all of that. So just go to prophecy. Go to prophecy.
And that's what we're on now, is talking about the prophecies. So Enoch chapter 48, we came from verse 3, but I liked all of it. So just start us off, Nariah, if you had it. No, 2.
Shema. Book of Enoch, chapter 48, verse 2. In that hour, is that how yours started?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In that hour was this son of Adam invoked before Yahweh Tazabah, and his name in the presence of the Ancient of Days. Before the sun and the signs were created.
Stop. Y'all see how Awar was the first thing created, and then Yahweh Shai in Colossians 1, it said was before everything was created. Enoch had already said the same thing. Go ahead.
Before the stars of the Shemayim were formed, his name was invoked in the presence of Yahweh Tazabah. A support shall he be, and he shall be the light of nations.
So he shall be the light of nations, right? Now go ahead.
Verse 4. He shall be the hope of those whose hearts are troubled.
Mm-hmm.
All who dwell on the Aratazim shall fall down and worship before him, shall bless and glorify him, and sing praises to the name of Yahweh Tazabah.
So stop right there. So learning something on the way to learning something. It says they stopped and worshiped before him. Does it say that they stopped and worshiped him, or is it saying they worshiped before him?
They worship before him.
Meaning, let's just act like we know dance is a form of worship. Yahushua just came and saved us. We dancing like David, worshiping before him. But we don't know who we're worshiping yet, if we saying it in a text. Because most people say that because worship is an English word. So this is a controversial thing. It's not a disrespect. We honor, respect, glorify all of those respectable things to the Messiah. But we worship who? According to Enoch, it says, we shall bless and glorify him, the Messiah, and sing praises to the name of Yahweh the Father. So we worship Yahweh in front or before the Messiah, not worship Jesus.
Come on now.
So that's just learning something on the way to learning something. Verse 5.
Also, just to keep it, just to give another practical example, let's say you had to get a surgery done, and the surgery is a success. Most of our people, who's the first person they thank, y'all? They thank the surgeon, and then who they thank? Thank you. Thank the Lord. Thank you, God. So, just kind of give a practical example for anybody who might look at it another time. They of course honor the physician or honor the vessel that's being used, but they thank the Almighty, is what I'm saying. Verse 5, the book of Enoch, chapter 48, verse 5. Therefore, the elect and the concealed one existed in his presence before the world was created and forever.
Hawar 6.
And his presence, he existed and has revealed to the Kodashiam, or the set apart, or the holy, and to the righteous, the wisdom of Yahweh Tazabah. For he has preserved the lot of the righteous, because they have hated and rejected this world of lawlessness or iniquity, and have detested all its works and ways in the name of Yahweh Tazabah.
So who, in the beginning, we showed who was the light established and the lamp established in? Yashar Allah. Before all of this, it said and a support shall he be for the light of the Gentiles, nations, Gentiles. So if it's saying he's going to be a support for the Gentiles, but then it keeps going and it's saying that the set apart, the holy ones, who are the set apart?
Yashar.
It's telling you the answer. It's telling you the answer. We are the Gentiles. It's like, I just be at work listening. I'm like, did I just hear? And what I'll do, I'll just take one of these sticky notes and I just write it down before I forget. But verse 7.
Verse 7. For in his name shall they be preserved, and his will shall be their life. In those days shall the kings of the earth and the mighty men who have gained the world by their achievements become humble in countenance.
So now we're making a distinction. Verse 8.
Verse 8. For in that day of their anxiety and trouble their souls shall not be saved, and they shall be in subjection to those whom I have chosen.
Stop. So y'all asked the question. This is the example why he said go to prophecy. That's how I learned. Went to prophecy. The prophecy is saying the ones who receive the wisdom of the Most High, the law, the Torah, we reject the word of iniquity, they shall be preserved. And the support for the light of the nations, Yahushua, the Gentiles, is that group, the holy. Now it says the kings of the earth and the mighty men. Are the Israelites the kings of the earth right now? No. So the rulers of the world will be humbled. It's a separation. So if you think of Gentiles the way that we was originally taught, now he's talking about the Gentiles. Right. Y'all see that? Right. And what's going to happen to them? In verse 8.
Verse 8, for in the day of their anxiety and trouble, their souls shall not be saved.
In the days of their anxiety and trouble, they shall not be saved.
And they shall be in subjection to those whom I have chosen.
So we got two different groups. The people that he chose, he going to be a support for, a light to the Gentiles, because that's what it says. It says it's going to be a light to the Gentiles. And y'all going to see that word is interchangeable with nations, which you already have seen, but you'll continue to see. Go ahead.
I was just going to add quickly, Psalm chapter 149 is a parallel to Isaiah chapter 61. Of course, Yahushua stopped at a certain point according to the text, but we all know because we read it afterwards to proclaim the day of vengeance.
Right.
So, in like your class years ago, it's all coming back full circle. What is salvation? Salvation coincides with the destruction of somebody or the subjugation of somebody.
And that's what in verse 9. Verse 9.
Verse 9, I will cast them like hay into the fire and like lead into the water. Thus shall they burn in the presence of the righteous.
Two groups.
And sink in the presence of the holy, nor shall a 10th part of them be found.
Verse 11.
Verse 11. You want me to read 10?
Yeah.
Verse 11. In his presence shall they fall, and not be raised up again. Nor shall there be anyone to take them out of his hands and to lift them up, for they have denied Yahweh Tazabah and his Mashiach, and his Messiah. The name of Yahweh Tazabah shall be blessed.
The distinction.
That's all.
A light to the nations. But this is the thing. And this is what's going to be shown that I even saw a proof text for. There's 12 nations that it's talking about. Each nation, each tribe is a nation.
Come on now.
So he's a light to the Israelites, a light to the nations. And because English is stupid, it's a light to the Gentiles. Because if we were speaking Hebrew, we wouldn't use the word nation or Gentile, see? Right. But we just messed up because of English. English is stupid.
Uh-huh.
But even Enoch, he makes a distinction between the Son and the Father. Can you read verse 7? I think I heard him say they're going to trust in the name or something like that.
You mean verse 11? When it says, and lift them up, for they have denied Yahweh and his Messiah?
No, it was earlier. I think verse 6 or 7 said they're going to trust in his name.
It says, because they have hated and rejected this world of iniquity and have detested all his works and ways in the name of Yahweh Tazabah. Verse 4 says, he shall be the hope of those whose hearts are troubled. All who dwell on earth shall fall down and worship before him, shall bless and glorify him, and sing praises to the name of Yahweh Tazabah.
It was something you said because they trust in his name.
For in his name they are saved.
In his name they are saved. What verse is that?
Verse 7.
I knew I heard it right.
For in his name shall they be preserved, and
so,
his will shall be their life.
The translation can't represent the Hebrew. It's by his name, by Hashem. By his name they're going to be preserved. And then in Matthew 5, he says, if you ask the Father anything in my name. So you see, Enoch is none of our elders know anything about a Trinity, about Jesus being God. We ask in his name, by his name, and we get granted our petitions. So Enoch is matching what we got in the so-called KJV. I shield.
I'll quickly, Sister Jennifer, does all this make sense before I say what I'm going to say? Okay. So if you're saying this to somebody, the only thing most people will try to say at this point is we're all spiritual Israel. But there are plenty of precepts that show you, even in the quote-unquote New Testament, the seed of Abraham. So, that won't be too much more to speak on once you bring those witnesses. It's either you believe and you want to be humble and fair, or you just don't. But even with what Mariah is saying, asking in the name, like Shamar and Abijah are saying, English being so defiled as a language, when Yahweh Shai says that if you ask in my name, what he's saying is, if you ask as you're living like I'm living, in my representation. So if you're keeping the commandments and you ask anything, the Father's going to give it to you. So, that's how powerful our language is when you just come back to it and understand from a Hebraic lens when you're reading this text. It just sends everything just changes.
I was gonna say real quick too. I just feel like in this hour it's amazing, Shamari, even what you bringing out. I literally had just asked this question to Joy, but I can just see how even with us establishing who the scripture's talking to and us being possessed of knowing that we are the nation or part of the nation, you can see how Hasatan knew this was coming was anger, because you even have the Israelites on the corners who are right as far as the genealogy is concerned, but then still twist the script to make people who humble themselves from other nations. We are going to have strangers come with us, and that's not what we're saying. It's like it's just us and nobody else can come. But we are, you're cutting it right. But then on the other other side, I see the Christians who been like it's really hard to reach because we've been kind of like indoctrinated with the church replacement theology, and it sounds right, it feels right, it seems like that's a loving spiritual thing, but it's not what the script is saying. And so I just feel like, man, it's just amazing that you can cut through all that and bring this out right now, because I feel like even us, as we wake up, we still have Israelites out there, and I think some of them was working for Hasatan anyway to kind of put all this out on the corners,
right?
And it's not really jiving with what the script is saying either.
And with the prophecies, I mean, they tell you, he said that the kings of the earth, it'll be down to a 10th part. And then there's other scriptures that basically saying how it will be others, and some will be in subjection to. So, of course, there's no kingdom with servants and people being in subjection is a part of a kingdom. You got the hierarchy of the royalty, the common folks, and those subject to. So you got to have subject to. So I agree, yeah. And like I said before, that'll probably be maybe next time, but the part where it's a light to the Gentiles as us being a light to the Gentiles is they see our light from afar in the way our actions are. But then this light to the Gentiles, Yahweh Shai, his light was for the people that sat in darkness. We almost finished, but I know it's good when everybody's commenting, but it's going even be more clear and about the distinction between that word nations. You gonna see. We gonna see. So we was right here before Isaiah 42, and I skipped over and went to 7, and then coming back, 6 says, the Most High Yahweh have called you in righteousness, and will hold your hand, and will keep you, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. But who received the covenant? Who was in a covenant with the Most High? It's telling us over and over what the answers are. But when you read this, if you search it through a Christian lens, they're going to say this light is for all nations and all worlds. And that's why I say it depends on the context, right? And just another witness to that is Isaiah 51. And these are prophecies that's saying what the Messiah's role or what he would be. These are the characteristics of the Messiah. So when they seen them, they supposed to have recognized them. Trying to see if was there anything else that I wanted besides the main thing. Nah, not really. And what verse was that? Oh, I'm in 52. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is out of the Septuagint, so it reads a little bit different.
That's verse 4, 51 and 4.
You got your Septuagint, anybody? Yeah, Nariah got it. Or, okay, yeah.
You go ahead.
Yeah, verse 4 in the Septuagint.
Isaiah 51, verse 4. Hear me, my people, and you kings, hearken to me. For a law shall proceed from me, and my judgment shall be for a light of the nations.
So the law that proceeded from the Most High, Yahushua is a representation of that law, that Torah. And then his judgment shall be for a light of the nations. Nations could be equated to Gentiles. To me, this can be a twofold, but the first judgment is for who? Yasharallah, a light of the nations. The Gentiles really is the Israelites, right? Just keep it going so it can all start to come together. Isaiah 49 in the Septuagint. Isaiah 49 in the Septuagint and 6. And then the main thing is on the screen. Um, and I highlighted key words on the screen for a reason. The reason why, too, before he reads that the Septuagint is better for a lot of these is because, like, this is a good example. Isaiah 49 in the KJV says, and he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant. That don't sound right, because if it's a light thing, that means it's not that serious. But read it in the Septuagint and just read the whole thing. 6, yeah.
The book of Isaiah chapter 49 verse 6. And he said to me, it is a great thing.
It's not a light thing. It's a great thing.
It is a great thing for thee to be called my servant.
For Yahushua to be called Yahweh's servant.
To establish the tribes of Jacob.
So his mission is to establish the tribes of Jacob.
And to recover the dispersion of Yasharallah.
Gawayam. Gawayam. Gather together. Gather together. Gather and secure us back to Yah.
Gar.
And then Gar is the other one. And you can still say, you could say that too. To gather to the chief. You can say that. You could say it both ways. You're right. So, behold.
Behold, I have given thee for the covenant of a race.
I have given Yahushua for a covenant, for the covenant of a race.
For a light of the Gentiles.
If we keep in subject matter in context, the whole thing, it says Jacob, Israel, covenant, light to the Gentiles. So who is that Gentiles then? It's right there. It's not something that I'm trying to say Israel is only this. If we're taking what we learned in English and it says, well, read in context, read what's before. Jacob, Israel, covenant race, for a light of the Gentiles, that you, Yahushua, should be salvation. Yahushua, Yahushua, our salvation. They thought he was saying Hosanna. They all in the Kool-Aid. And when it says to the ends of the earth, because we scattered all around the world, right? Now, this is going to be a strong witness to that, but in the New Testament, John chapter 11.
Could I put a quick precept in there just to go along with what you're saying?
Go ahead.
If you go to Isaiah chapter 46, and you can read it in the KJV or the Septuagint, but verse 13, 12 to 13, it says, hearken to me, you senseless ones that are far from righteousness. I have brought near my righteousness, and I will not be slow with the salvation that is from me. I have given salvation in Zion to Israel for glory.
He's telling you. He's telling us. We don't read, and we don't read with comprehension. All right. So let's go to John chapter 11 and verse 49. Yeah. 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 John chapter 11 and verse 49. Shema.
The book of Yachanan, or John chapter 11 verse 49.
This is for context.
And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest, that same year said unto them, you know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not.
Stop. What nation is he talking to?
Yasharallah.
More specific. What nation specifically, if this is Caiaphas, the high priest, during this time, who is he talking to? Judah. He's talking to Judah. That's correct, right? Tazabah?
It could go either way.
Like if he's sitting down talking to people in person, it could be a mix, but by and large, the nation that was still intact was
Southern Kingdom.
Southern Kingdom.
Yeah.
Nation.
Because in the context, the Northern Kingdom was sort of already perished.
So that's my point.
They were already destroyed.
That's my point. Sorry to put y'all on the spot.
Well,
but
just to strengthen your point, when you read 45, it says, "Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen some of the things which Yahushua did believed on him, but some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, What do we? For this man doeth many miracles."
So exactly. So I assumed, so my bad, but since we seen that he been dealing with the Southern Kingdom was the ones that was still intact. Let's just put it that way.
But he mentions, if you keep reading, you got it up there. 52, he covers the whole nation.
Right, and then we gonna go, and this is the point. This is the whole point of what we got up there. 52.
Verse 52. And not for that nation only.
So not for the Southern Kingdom only.
But that also he should gather together in one the children of Elohim that were scattered abroad.
All 12 tribes. That's why they would be considered Gentiles. If y'all can see that. So that's why I said this is a proof that each tribe is a nation. He's sitting still in the land talking to the Southern, but he's saying that not only should Yahushua die for us, he should also die for the ones that were scattered abroad, the 10. And that's why the prophecy from before said, recover the dispersion of Israel, Isaiah 49. Right? And I think this is the last witness to that, and then there's the capstone verse that I saw that made the whole purpose of Yahushua. So this is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 1. This is the ESV. Because we're talking about the prophecies is where we got to rely on. And then some of these prophecies we have the benefit to see how they played out. So Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 1.
The book of Yashayahu, or Isaiah chapter 9 verse 1 in the ESV. But there will be no gloom for her who was in anguish. In the former time he brought into contempt the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the latter time he has made glorious the way of the sea, the land beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations.
So the ESV, it says Galilee of the nations. I put up there Galilee of the Gentiles. But you see, Zebulun and Naphtali are two tribes of Israel. And it's saying that that light should go beyond Jordan in Galilee of the Gentiles, or the nations. It's calling those two tribes of Israel Gentiles. Now, to prove that, you could pull up the footnotes for the ESV, and all the way at the bottom is real small on the screen, but at the bottom, F says, or of the Gentiles. So that's why I put in Galilee of the Gentiles, the Israelites. This specific one was specifically talking about some of the northern tribes, the tribes that got dispersed, Zebulun and Naphtali, Galilee of the Gentiles. That word nation is Gentiles, right? In verse 2.
Verse 2. The people who walk in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in a land of deep darkness, on them has light shone.
So the whole class, we talked about being in darkness, and we talked about the light, and then the light being shown on this group of people by this man who we're saying is a war. is the light and was in the beginning with the Father. Matthew chapter 4 supports Isaiah 9. Can we get that real quick?
Say it one more time.
Matthew chapter 4. Matthew chapter 4 and verse 12. Shema. Read.
The book of Matthew chapter 4, verse 12. Now when Yahushua had heard that Yachanan was cast into prison, he departed into Galilee. And leaving Nazareth, or Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast, in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali. Verse 14, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people which sat in darkness saw great light, and to them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light is sprung up.
17.
From that time, Yahushua began to preach and say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Does that make sense for y'all? Comments?
It's just a witness, because I was going to read this, Kashbaya, I was going to read it, this verse, verse 17 specifically to the church the next time we went, because Yahushua didn't give a new commandment. He said repent.
Exactly. But y'all see how it correlated and told us in Isaiah where this man was going to go, and then in Matthew's we see it played out, and it says by the way of the sea beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. But just before, he just said that he went to by the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, which is 2 tribes of Israel. So the last thing for today is his whole purpose, and it's salvation. That's his name, Yahweh's salvation, and it's in Luke. But I didn't know how it tied into light and darkness until yesterday. So this is Luke chapter 1 and 67. And just if it's anybody new, if anybody ever wanted to explain to someone else what salvation was, you could bring them to this. But it also ties into the fact that we have gone from darkness to light, and that Yahushua is and was that light for us, for the people that sat in darkness. So if you don't mind, it's just start at 67, and this is how we're going to close out today. Shema.
The book of Luke chapter 1, verse 67. And his father Zacharias, or Zachariah, remember Yah, or Yah has remembered, was filled with the Ruach Kodash, and prophesied, saying, blessed be Yahweh Elohim of Yasher Allah, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant Dawid, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us, that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him, all the days of our life. And you, child, shall be called the prophet of the highest, for you shall go before the face of Yahweh to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation unto his people, by the remission of their sins, through the tender mercy of our power, whereby the day spring from on high hath visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of shalom, or peace. And the child grew and waxed strong in spirit, and was in the deserts till the day of his showing unto Yasharallah.
So y'all see this whole class from the last time to this time about darkness and about light. This man's mission was to be the light, to give light to us that sit in darkness. And when you're sitting in darkness, you're in the shadow of death. We're already marked to be destroyed if we don't receive this light. And him being salvation is saving us not just from our enemies, but taking us out of that darkness. And then it says to guide our feet in the way of shalom. And then it says the law is a lamp unto my feet, light unto my path. That's Yahweh Shai. His mission the whole time was to bring that light, bring himself, bring the Torah back to the people.
All praise.
All praise. I just wanted to make a quick correction if needed. This is John, right? This is talking about John. Right. Okay. So verse 76, I said, and you, child, shall be called the prophet of the highest, for you shall go before the face of Yahweh. That's Adonai, and
He will go before the face of Yahweh.
Yeah. So yeah, I meant the master, to go before the face of Adonai, or the master. I said Yahweh. I just wanted to correct myself on that.
Khan. So all praises. Please give a clap to the Most High and His Son Yahweh Shai. Because that's nothing but Him. And it's so many other little details and precepts that's in there mixed in throughout. But there's some miscellaneous things that, we can cover the next time. The last part of it is just want to talk about how we are supposed to be that light, and how he tells us, he already played his part until, he returns. But he played his part in us, but he left and switched it and started. Remember, he said that I am the light of the world, but then it switches. He says, you are the light of the world. So we'll talk about that stuff next time. And then there's some miscellaneous verses about Acts and who those people in the New Testament were and were talking and stuff like that. So we'll have like some little leftovers as far as that goes. So all praises for that comment by Sister Joyce.
All praises. I wanted to bring out too, and one thing that I noticed that, the church was saying a lot is that God is love, but then they say God is love and they include everyone else. But this scripture that you are bringing out, 68 through 80, God is love, because look what He's saving you from. So He's bringing you out of darkness. He's saving you from your enemies. He's doing all of these things. He is love, but it's not in this inclusivity mindset that we have, that we're always trying to bring everybody else in, because they're always asking, well, what about the other people? This is showing you that the Most High is love.
Right.
So, just wanted to let you know about that.
All praises. Any final comments? Online, offline? All right. Well, that's a wrap.